and old school subscribers. You guys, sorry about the video quality, but I am going to be walking, right? It's the middle of the day, and I give you those barely moving videos at nighttime. So bear with it. Now I want to talk to y'all about perspective and how your perspective is everything in life. I know a lot of y'all take perspective for granted, but if your perspective is right, then you'll never have a bad day. You'll know that everything is working in your favor at all times. Hang on for a second. These guys get by here. There's a loud truck. What's going on? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever you're at right now. We're just working our way over towards this water. You guys can get some of this nature, get some of this water at the same time. Now, listen, your perspective is the utmost importance, because think about it. Let's think about it like this. You guys smash that like button. Your creativity can only be stemmed. Well, it can stem, but most of the time, people are creative from a place of personal space or being in the right kind of mood or energy around the right kind of people. You can't really be creative when you have a whole bunch of people around you that are haters. Now, in order for you to be the most creative, you have to be unbothered. It's hard out here to focus and do what's needed. And yeah, we're gonna have to make some moves. It's extremely busy. It's hard for you to make moves out here and get things done. Just like this road is extremely busy right now. It's hard for me to focus on what I'm talking about because I'm having to observe traffic from both sides, make sure I move, just like life, right? So most people, when they're being creative, they do it from a private space where they can have enough time for themselves to be able to think clearly and to articulate themselves if they're speaking to other people. Now, the problem is you're never going to be able to have a place in your life or be at a place in your life until you get to extreme wealth, and even then you're still around people, to where you're alone and you're able to create like you want to, in isolation or just in a room to yourself. You're never alone. There's always something going on and you're around people all the time. People pop up, things happen. So you're never really able to get that space. That's why you have to be unbothered. You have to be unbothered in a busy, bothersome world where there's stuff going off around you at all times. You have to be able to have that ability to stay unbothered. And the only way to be unbothered and stay unbothered is by having the right perspective. That divine perspective will save your life. That divine perspective is life. Now, let's talk about it for a second. What is divine perspective? Well, it's the perspective God gives you on everything that you deal with every day. Instead of things frustrating you, you know their lessons. Instead of things getting on your nerves or you feel like a bunch of people or whatever, NPCs, you find a way to, it's not even cope. It's not even dealing with. It's understanding or understanding, for whatever you spiritual people like to do. It's the perspective of knowing that you have to at all times fight for your peace. At all times, it's an everyday battle. That's why these monks and stuff like that, they, go into whatever and they do it for hours or whatever, because you have to fight for your peace every day. There are people out here that are just throwing energy around. They're doing whatever. They don't care. They don't care what they're doing. They don't care how it's perceived. And a lot of them are just unhealed human beings, that have a lot of healing to do. So they're running around, projecting, deflecting, being narcissistic. And your perspective, your divine perspective, is going to keep things in perspective. So when someone's projecting onto you, or AKA talking to you negatively, you know what's going on. Your divine perspective of life, of social dynamics, of what's going on during that interaction, what this person is really trying to convey. It's a cry for help in a way, but a lot of times people just don't want to deal with their problems. So assumptions are made and they do what they do. They do what they do. But your perspective about whatever you run into, okay, for example, yesterday had a doctor's appointment for my son, and it was a follow-up appointment with that same crazy surgeon. I could have gone in there and had the perspective of, man, I already got into it with this guy, he's gonna act a fool again, who knows. But I didn't, because I handled the first situation just fine. Just because he decided to call CPS on me or whatever, I'm not going to be unprofessional. I don't really care what they're doing, and I'm not doing anything wrong as long as my son is taken care of. And that's the perspective I maintain with this whole situation. As long as my son's taken care of and I take great care of my son, I'm nothing to worry about. I have no control over a doctor deciding that he wants to cause problems for whatever reason, and then to afterwards realize that the injury wasn't even as bad as he thought, and feel kind of stupid. But again, if I was to let this person get to me, that could easily cause someone to go into a rage or whatever. But your perspective on things is, every day you will be challenged by these humans. Every single day. Every day you're going to have some human that wants to project or assert dominance over you and your way of life. You being laid back and unbothered bothers the most people. You not caring what anyone thinks or what anyone does bothers the most people. You being unbothered is the most bothersome thing to just about most people that you interact with. And I don't want you to change. I want you to stay unbothered, but you have to understand that as you're unbothered, there are going to be people out here that are going to be super triggered by everything you do, everything you say, and every one of your non-responses. Again, as I'm going through life and trying to teach you young bucks and men of my own age and older how you respond to these people. And I know a lot of people say this, but it's deeper than that. Hang on for a second. Yeah, it's deeper than that, right? It's a demon on this person as to the reason why they want to get a response out of you. And they don't even know you. They shouldn't even care about anything that has anything to do with you. So as you're just navigating through life and you know that you're the main character of your life, so it's not main character syndrome, it's just acknowledging your placement in your life, which should be the main person. So when you're doing this, and 9 times out of 10, You're going to be minding your business. Whatever happens, you know they ain't got nothing to do with you. People have insecurities. People have demons that they struggle with. And most of every person projects. So, your perspective, I'm not going to be on here long. You guys know daytime videos are short, nighttime videos are longer. Your perspective is everything. The way you perceive these haters, the way you interact with anyone, period, is all up to your perspective. Now, I know from the divine perspective I have that everything is working out in my favor. So if everything is working out in my favor, then why would I ever be negative, upset, sad, or mad? I might get, perturbed here and there from certain interactions with certain people, but I get right back to neutral. The perspective is everything's a lesson. So what's the lesson to be learned from random people projecting onto you? Well, a lesson to be learned is don't let it knock you off your square. Stay on your throne. Now stay on your crown, man. At all times, you got to know who you are. You got to know that you're him or her. You got to know that no matter what situation comes up, God's got you. I'm going to give y'all a good prime example, of how God will take care of you. Like I mentioned before about YouTube getting bought out, but also, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to mention that. Keep that story for another time. Oh, 12 minutes looks about right. So, to wrap it up, let's sum it up. Let's leave it on a good note. What did we learn today? Well, perspective. Divine perspective, more specifically. What is divine perspective? Well, that is when you know that everything is working out for you and nothing works against you. Absolutely. So whatever comes about, if there's no lesson that you see, the minimal lesson that's being taught to you when you're being irritated by people, the least that you're learning is how to deal with something and someone and maintain your peace, maintain your happiness, maintain your, flow. Whatever you were doing prior to this person trying to knock you off your square. It's just about maintaining these things and understanding, like I said, that everything is working in your favor. If you know it's working in your favor, nothing should bother you. Everything that you have going on with yourself, nothing should bother you. You should think about it like that. Anything that you think is going wrong, well, what do you know what wrong is? I mean, you know when you're doing wrong, but how do you know that your life isn't coming together as opposed to falling apart? How do you know that your perspective isn't thrown off because of the way you've been indoctrinated? How do you know? You need to look at things in a different kind of way, because if nothing ever really happens to you, then wouldn't it seem like some of the stuff that you're coming up with, you might just be making it up in your head based off the conditioning that you've been put under, to just kind of put yourself under consistent stress and worry for no reason? It's just kind of like taking the time and give it some good thought. I'm telling you, if that perspective is right, if you know for a fact that, you're in alignment, so when things come up your way, you're just always like, well, okay, I got multiple examples, man, but, anytime that something happens, instead of you freaking out or woe is me being a victim, which is the conditioning that we're put under in this modern society, so we always have a chip on our shoulder, and we're always hating on our fellow man or whatever. So what if your perspective is flipped and you know that every interaction is part of your spiritual journey? That every time that you interact with somebody, good or bad, Whatever situation comes up, whenever you have to go to work, whatever is part of your spiritual growth. And what if you can find growth in everything that you're interacting with or what's going on with you every day? That's what it's about, man. Coming to peace, knowing that you have everything that you need and that God's got you and nothing's going to knock you off your square. It's just life lessons. You know, anytime anything happens, you guys lose your job and you wig out and you're like, oh my God, no, it's making room for something else. You know, for all I know, or you might be working on something, and the only thing holding you back from, going full force with that business is that comfy job you have. Another example, my son, he hurt his leg. Well, I believe there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. He knows not to be horse playing around in school during recess like that. And I'm also getting to spend more time with him, getting to know him, talk to him more, going through his experience together. Again, looking at things from the bright side instead of looking at things from a half-empty point of view. Just it's the perspective. If your perspective is right, your perception of things is right, which should be, if you're in alignment, you're doing everything right, nothing is working against you, nothing is causing you problems. Things are falling into place. And things in this realm, for God to make moves for you, things in this realm might look a certain way to you, but that don't mean that it's something wrong. You're just conditioned to think that things are supposed to go a certain kind of way, which really, the things you're conditioned into expecting to go a certain kind of way, they're fugazi. It's fake. It's not even real. They're just giving you this fairy tale. So in real life, you don't want to ever think that, oh, certain things are happening to me. They're happening for you. They're happening for you to position you the best so you can, achieve whatever it is that you're trying to get to. And that's how I look at things. That's why I don't ever get discouraged. I get ostracized by whatever. Who cares? It's part of my journey, and it's meant to happen for a reason. Haters coming out of nowhere, every live stream, who cares? What ended up happening is my, crack on you skills, man, put you in your place skills have gotten so good that I don't really have any trolls too often wanting to do that anymore. And plus, just made me even more witty. A win's a win. A win's a win. So that's how I take everything. I'll never take anything negative. And that's why I'm at peace all the time. And that's why I can get on here and maintain my normal happy-go-lucky self, because I'm at peace all the time, man. There's no stress when you know that everything's going to work out for you. Everything is happening is meant to happen. And I'm not talking about on some, I just go wherever the wind blows me, and no, I'm talking about being intentional, but instead of playing victim, when you perceive something as something going wrong, maybe look at it as like, well, that's probably a victimhood mentality. So let me go ahead and take this into a different type of perception. Maybe I can flip it. Maybe it's a lesson, or maybe I can teach other people something. Look, just an idea, just out here during the day, on the walk, doing what I do. Nothing too long during the day. I'm gonna get this content started up so you guys are expecting videos, but I am gonna drop some desk videos that will be longer. But as far as the walks, those are a nighttime thing, the longer ones. While this heat is still out here, we're gonna keep them kind of short during the day. But you guys, let me know what you think. Do you think your perspective on things is everything? Like, if your perspective is right, then everything will be all right. If you're always worried about something, you're thinking that the other shoe's about to drop at any moment, do you feel like that will kind of put that kind of energy out there and you're consistently running into it, it seems like to me, you know, as long as I'm calm, cool, and collective, that most of the things work out for me, and definitely in my favor. But anyway, let's talk about it. Smash that like button, drop a comment. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. And remember, I'm your brother, and I love you, and I'm out.